The body not only keeps score, but it lets you know what's going on. Ooh, my sweet potato. So I early this morning, early, I woke up thirsty and I recorded a whole thing about it. And something said, get up, drink some water. I went to the bathroom. Excuse me, I just had some soup, so I'm a little burpy. Get up, drink some water. And but some say eat some fruit. I'm like, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Fruit? Like, but I'm sleepy. I want to go to bed. Like, I don't want to lay down. So I say, eat some fruit. Like literally, I heard fruit. like, I like a strong craving for grapes and a banana specifically came into my head. So I said, all right, fine, I'm listening. And I know better than to ignore my body and what it wants. I know better. After 33 years, my body and myself is they're the, I listen to myself. And I grabbed a few grapes and they also supposedly have melatonin in it. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And grabbed the banana. Because I was waiting for our bananas to ripen anyway. So I've only had what, one or two. I said, eat a banana, girl. I said, okay, fine. And I ate it. So, take a sip of water, just a little bit to go with the fruit. I don't chug after I eat my food, especially now because I'm back on, I say plant based, but I also eat fish for the omega 3s. If you've seen the Cinderella story with, oh, love her. What is her name? I know her name. It's just brain. Come on, I know it. Jennifer Coolidge, the goddess. She said, I need my omega 3s. she, oh no, yeah, I've been eating tuna, just twice. And it's also good for happiness or something spiritually. I can't remember. I gotta look at my notes. So if you crave fish, you may want, just need some happiness, some joy, or something like that. It's really nice. And I was trying to figure out, like, I knew why I was craving spicy food. I did not like spicy food growing up. Hated it. I referenced too many TV programs. That was from In Living Color, Damon Wayans and my Greer, David Allen Greer. Hated it. Hated it. Like my body couldn't handle it. I hated spicy foods. My stomach would do flips and turns, and I would just feel like crap. Didn't I realize that was because my entire gut health was already garbage. That's why. So my body was fighting it, but the healthier my gut health gets, the more I was craving spicy foods, and I'm like, I may do a little bit of spice, just a little bit, in like a soup or something. But it's not hot for no fucking reason. I can't stand a hot for no fucking reason. Get some flavor in there. Because some people who love spicy shit, I've noticed that a lot of smokers tend to like really, really spicy shit because their taste buds are shot to hell. And I mean like heavy smokers. Like it's an addiction type smoker. It's not I might smoke a J or smoke some weed once a day or a few times a week. No. Them heavy smokers, cigarettes and Black and Milds or cigars and stuff, they some of them crave spicy food because they can't take shit else. Or they add a lot of salt to their stuff. I grew up with smokers. My aunt was a smoker and she cooked. She could cook her ass off, but she was a heavy smoker. But she was an aware heavy smoker, because I think people have told her before, because sometimes she would even ask me, can you taste this midway through? Like, I want to make sure I don't put too much salt in it. I appreciated that. But sometimes if she wasn't thinking about it or if she offered us some food that she had cooked for herself, it would be salty as fuck. But I love a spice now that has flavor. It not only has the hot peppers, but it may have a little tiny bit of garlic. It's a flavor palette. It's not just the Carolina Reapers for the sake of you've been through some trauma and you eat spicy shit to feel something. And that is, that's no judgment. There's no judgment, baby. But I just don't like it. I could never do it. So craving spicy stuff. It's an Aries full moon. What is today? Is today Sunday or Monday? Okay, it's an Aries full moon on Tuesday, I believe, which is a Mars day. You may hear the dog downstairs barking. She's mad at me because I won't let her up. But I'm cleaning, sweetie pie. And all she wants to do is play, which understandable. Um, ooh, that was a big old crow. What? So I have been studying real quick, side quest. I've been studying symbolism and native symbols and also listening to my intuition about certain things. And there are animals that have been popping up that I've only heard over the last few weeks. Like we have tall trees, so I've only heard them in the trees, or I've heard them at a distance, but I haven't seen them in a while. And I just saw a big ass crow in our backyard. I'm like, ugh, what? But sometimes a crow can be really good for me. I've seen crows, it meant the ending of one cycle and the beginning of a better one, so it was like balancing stuff out. I heard an owl the other night, and I've heard owls. We live in the boondocks, so I've heard owls in the distance. This one sounded like it was in our front yard, and something like I was like, that sounds kind of close. And a few months ago, I had a dream that there was a white. Was that? Did I have that dream? No, no, I didn't have that dream. My cousin had a dream that there was a big ass white owl in our front yard. And I think that was the same week that I had heard an owl in our backyard. So they have gotten closer. So I'm thinking about what could possibly be going on right now or happening this week with the Aries full moon. But I've been craving spice. And normally if you crave spice, that usually means there's stuck in stagnant energy in your sacral and solar chakra, solar plexus. There has been an attack on the solar plexus, which is self-esteem. I've been studying, so it's fresh in my memory. Self-esteem, happiness, joy, knowing oneself. Because I've been feeling called to preach that, and I say preach because when I talk, sometimes I can sound preachy. But feeling called to stress that for people to know who they are, for them to get in touch with themselves, for them to maybe instead of going out every weekend with your friends, spend that Friday, which is Venus Day, doing some rituals of devotion to yourself. Figure out what it is that you may need, what it is that you want, what it is that you are no longer standing for. And I'm gonna upload this week. Wi-Fi is out right now, and it has been for the last few days. Mm. The full moon is full mooning, y'all, in ways that it hasn't in a few months. So, well, I'll say in ways that it has, yeah, in a few months, because the last August, why am I saying August? Something happened in August. I think I had really good energy in August. That's why I said it. But I meant the last Aries full moon was in March or April. Aries new moon, excuse me. And the full moon coincides with the last new moon. What happened in March? I'm gonna have to go back through my recordings and check, but or how was I feeling in March? I think in March and April I felt very, hey, oh, let's go. Hey, oh, let's go. Like I was ready to start this new chapter, and I think I did start a few things or continue a few things back in March and April. I think I did. So it's good energy. It's been good energy for me. But there's stuck energy, a lot of stuck emotion, a lot of stuck issues, and people feeling stuck, repeating cycles that don't benefit them, not letting go of things and people that bring you down, even though it's something that you may love, cherish, feel called to do, or feel called to be with. Maybe Those people are not meant for you anymore because of who you are now. We all change. Maybe those people are also stuck or are stuck. And because you're keeping them in your orbit, you're keeping them in your life, you are a lot more stuck than what you should be. Because one thing about it, one thing's for certain and two things for sure. Is that how you say it? Yeah. I only talk about things that I either observe or I've been through or both. You know, I realized that, and I said this last night, I realized, or this morning technically, me staying in certain people's lives was keeping them stagnant because they were always coming to me for wisdom or they were always coming to me for advice or to complain or to vent. Because sometimes you do just need to vent it out. But past a certain point, you got to stop venting and start getting to work. You got to stop venting and start getting to work. This is no longer the time for venting to your friends and leaning on them to the point of, she bad at me. She's like, I hear you talking, let me out. Girl, we played all day yesterday and I want to clean. And it's the first of the month, so I've done deep cleaning. I've normally done deep cleaning during the first of the month. Like I just feel the pull and the urge to. I haven't really had the nutrients in my body to do that over the last few months. So I just been doing a little tidying up here, a little cleaning here, a little wiping down here. But I have the physical and mental energy to put on my music and clean the baseboards. I'm taking advantage of it. This house is going to shine like the top of the Chrysler building. If you haven't seen the ABC version of Annie with Kathy Bates and what is her name? Amazing actress. She has like a high pitchy voice and she's a blonde. She does mostly Broadway, but she's been in on TV too. And fuck, what is his name? Another amazing actor who played her brother. I know his face. He played Nightcrawler in X-Men along with a bunch of other stuff. Like I can't think of his name, but it's that movie is amazing. That play technically it's a movie, but I consider it a play because I think they filmed it. They used to film. Did they film that live? No, I don't think so. No, no, I don't think they did. Something they filmed live, but not that. But yeah, shine like the top of the Chrysler building. I'm ready to clear out this energy. I'm going to smoke this place out in terms of like just using my Palo Santo and lighting some incense and stuff and opening up the windows to let all the stagnant energy get out because it's so important. Gone are the days. Didn't finish my thought. Gone are the days of leaning so heavily on your friends and family or whatever else. It's time for you to stand the fuck up and stand in your power. And I say that not as a judgmental thing. Mm-mm. I say that as I know it's time for you to do that. It's time for us to do that. Stand in our own power and accept that we can't take everybody with us, accept that not everybody is supposed to come with us, and accept that the more we focus on us, the more we focus on what we need, what our systems need, what we feel called to do, what we feel called to create, what needs our attention, we will be attracting the community that we are supposed to have. Don't focus on that. So many people, especially after the pandemic, have been focused on trying to or desperate energy of trying to find people, and none of those situations have worked out. None of them. None of them at all. And some people will say, well, this has worked out for me. Has it really? Has it really? Like think about it. Did you build a relationship from a victim standpoint after the pandemic? And it ain't gotta be romantic, it can be friendship, job, family, whatever. Animal. Did you build that friendship, relationship, get that pet in a victim energy or in an empowered energy? In a we do well together and we help each other grow, not through pain, because I can't fucking stand when people will be like, oh, they helped me grow. And it's been nothing but pain and misery for the last few years. Baby, you can grow without pain and misery. You can absolutely grow without pain and misery and sufferance. Get that? That's another thing. Stagnant energy around feeling like or believing that the only way that you can grow is through pain and suffering. Absolutely fuck not. We're not doing that no more. It's not cute. Mm-mm. I just saw the crow fly over our house. That was a big ass shadow. I'm not scared, but it was like the fact that I saw it. The crows are big as fuck. I haven't seen many ravens around here. I haven't seen any ravens that I know of. Cause you can tell when you see a crow versus a raven. That was a whole video on TikTok. And I'm like, we got crows all around our house, and I've seen them up in the air. Them motherfuckers big. I've seen a crow fight a vulture before in the air. Motherfuckers. And that's usually a good sign because vultures are usually not a good sign. But when you see a raven, from my studies, especially one that's like going to protect or going to fight something like a vulture or whatever, there's usually a sign that something's going to work out and balance itself out. Or, the negative thing is going to be redirected or get its ass whooped. I mean, my sweet potato. Okay. No more stagnant energy. A lot of people are in denial about the relationships that they built. And some of it is not their fault because some of it has happened through guilt of I feel petty for cutting these people off, or I feel petty for they got you fucked up, babes. That's old shit making you feel bad. How does that serve you? Them getting you fucked up or them holding you back. How does that serve you? And why do you feel like your relationships have to only be one sided? Where did you learn that from? And I'm almost willing to bet it was your mother or father, grandfather, grandmother, whatever the fuck, auntie. hmm I'm almost willing to bet that somebody downplayed how you felt and you always had to tiptoe, tiptoeing in my heels. Shout out to T.S. Madison. Oh my goodness. She has given us so many iconic one liners. Her, and Tiffany New York Pollard. Tiptoeing in my heels. Why do you feel like you need to tiptoe around people that are supposed to care and love for you? Meanwhile, they don't do the same thing for you. Or, truth be told, I don't see that as a good relationship, period. Hopefully, y'all can't hear me chewing a sweet potato. I'm gonna listen to it back and edit that out if you can, because I can't stand hearing people chew. I can't. I can't stand hearing people chew soft stuff. A crunch, I don't mind, because I'm like, oh, that sounds good. Like, especially if I want something crunchy, like a chip or like some celery or something. I don't mind it. But a smacking or like a soft chew, no. So I'm definitely gonna listen back to this and edit that out. Um, yeah. Why? I don't think it's a good thing in relationships for people to have to tiptoe. Somebody got mad at me on the clock app. Somebody's always getting mad at me on the clock app. They're too fucking sensitive, and this is coming from a water stellium. Mhm. I have a Scorpio stellium. I also have a Sagittarius. I have a Scorpio stellium. This is coming from somebody who is the definition of fucking emotional and sensitive. There's more water in my big six than it is in all of Southern California. So when I tell you, sometimes you're being, and I say overly emotional because it's coming from a place of you probably don't feel like you're being heard, or you felt like you weren't being heard at one point. It's coming from a place of not feeling seen. So your emotions are right. You are right to feel those emotions, but sometimes those emotions don't. Not don't serve you. Your emotions always serve you. They are calling your attention to something that's not right. That's what I've learned. That's what I've learned. It is something. It ain't gotta be something fucked up. It could literally be something like, yeah, I'm not feeling that. To teach you how to be your own advocate. So that we wish we could have had more people be our advocates when we were younger, baby. Aries full moon. This is the in charge. People always call Aries the Aries is the baby, but when Aries steps into its power, it knows what the fuck it's doing. I love Aries. My first girlfriend was an Aries. Unironically, she went into the military. She was an artist, but she went into the military. Um, that was after we broke up. But when Aries grows and grows into its power, recognizing that it can make its own decisions, recognizing that I am independent, I have the power to be independent, I have the power to sustain my well-being, my health, my security. You know, I have the power to put these wheels in motion, and if I need a plan, I can plan, but not to plan, not to plan for control, like total control. To plan so that if certain things happen, you could be more prepared. You know that saying, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's true. I'm somebody that kind of goes with the flow of life. Like if I feel called to do something, I'll do it. If I don't feel like doing something, it ain't happening. Okay, and that's who I am. The Aries placements in me also knows how to recognize patterns. I think from now on, I'm going to start referring to my sidereal and Vedic placements. So I'll only refer to my Western astrology placements as like a reminder or in a comparison in case somebody has similar placements to mine. But I'll be talking about it from the standpoint of having sidereal placements. Cause I feel more, I use both. I just feel called to. So I do what I feel called to do. But I am very good at strategizing. Oh, so good. I have like military precision strategizing, but the water stellium in me is like, yeah, I don't want to do that today. Let's see where the river takes us. The water always changing, always flowing. Pocahontas. Colors of the Wind. Yeah, Colors of the Wind. I think. Hmm. So, but if something happens, or if I change my path, and I need to look at a map and be like, okay, which way to not go, or you know what, I'm changing direction. Let's see where we're going. I have those plans or an idea of another route that I can take. You know, it's a good backup. So this is the energy of knowing that everything that you need is already in you. This is the fresh start. And a lot of people are going to be holding on for dear life to old shit and wondering why they're going down with the Titanic instead of grabbing a lifeboat when it was offered to them and living until they're 84. It's been 84 years. Wait, if it's been 84 years, that lady was old as fuck. Wait, was she a child from the Titanic movie? That character lady, the one I was supposedly telling the story. Was she a child when she went through the Titanic, or I think she was a child. Because if she wasn't a child, that lady would have been like 100 and some years old. Yeah, I think she might have been a child. I've watched the Titanic so many times, but I could not stand the Titanic. And every teacher that I've had, every writing teacher that I had, loved the Titanic for some god awful reason. I'm like, I get it. The boat sank, people died. Like, and I know the symbolism behind it, but I just didn't care. I didn't care enough to pay attention. The only thing I know is "Paint Me Like One of Your French Girls." I think that's the wrong movie. Is that the wrong movie? I don't think that's the Titanic. I got my white people movies mixed up. That's how little I care. But I remember the big details, the shit in between, because that movie sounds a long ass movie. I don't care enough. But take the lifeboat, baby. Cut off the dead weight. Throw over the diamonds and the jewels and stuff that are weighing you down. That's a word. Because just because you let go of friendships and relationships doesn't mean that these people weren't good people. Sometimes it does. You just weren't a good fit. You weren't a good match. But that's why I said throw over the diamonds and the jewels that's weighing you down. Because they might come back around. You never know. You may one day walk into a restaurant and you see somebody and it's like, hey, or maybe a friend's party or gathering or something, and you're like, hey, and both of y'all are open to like Nene and her husband, well, her late husband. Why they call them late? They're not late. They're dead. What are they late to? I need to look that up. What are they late to? Life. I have a very morbid sense of humor. I can't. I used to hold it back. But when you've been through as much shit as I have, and you've been to as many funerals as I have from a young age, you learn to laugh at certain shit. And it's not out of uncomfortability like people be trying to say. It's literally because I find it funny. My humor is different. My humor is different than a lot of people's. But you might come back together. Or you may find somebody similar and better. I dated someone who was almost a mirror, but an upgrade of my ex. Mm. And sometimes those cycles can come back around to see if you are still the same person, to see if you change, to see if you're still desperate, to see if you are still pressed to be seen, to see if you know your own power. And people be trying to force relationships. Meanwhile, the relationship itself is like, let it go, let it go. Literally. Like certain things keep getting in the way, arguments and everything else like that, and all signs, all lit up LED light signs from Vegas is telling you to let that bitch go. Let it go. And you still holding on, talking about something. Jack, Jack, Jack. If you see that static, I'm sorry, you gotta push him off the door, honey. Talking about some Jack. Baby, relationship's dead. You've been beating a dead horse. Let it go and get on with your life. It might take a while, but you will feel better once you do. Speaking from experience. And you may be setting them free. Some people will never get it. Some people will never think they're the problem, or they'll be confused of why you let them go, or they'll miss you and go on to find another attachment style, what do you call it, codependent attachment style relationship or whatever it is. And some people might actually sit back and reflect and be like, you know what? I see how that relationship wasn't really the best for us. Mm. You might be, quote unquote, saving their life. I literally, but setting them free. But you can't worry about them. That's not your job. My new favorite saying is, that's not my problem. That's not my job. Not my problem, not my job. Not what I agreed to. That's out of the bounds of the description of my my agreement. Yep. Because worrying about every single thing will have you so stressed out. And I've watched women, too many women, live like that. And they didn't cut their years. I'm gonna say they cut their years short. Not because they died young, but they did not live their fullest life that they could possibly live for longer than they did because they were trying to hold on to shit and people and situations and problems that were not their fucking problem. Let somebody else handle it, babes. unless it's literally your problem, like unless it's something that's your responsibility, and you don't have nobody else around who can help or who wants to help. Let somebody else handle it. Worrying about every fucking problem in the world is only gonna have you in an early grave. And then who's gonna if you're so concerned about other people, who's gonna benefit from you being dead? Unless you got a high fucking life insurance policy. Don't get no ideas now. Y'all need to live. But who? Who's gonna benefit from your energy and your wisdom and your care and your love if you did? Exactly. Stop stressing yourself the fuck out before I come through this come through this show and come straighten you out of love. Stop it. You gotta choosing you is the only option. I was gonna say selfish, but no, it's the only option. And then by choosing you, as I always say, you can then have enough energy because you pour into you first, and you pour into you before you go to bed. You can get up and have better energy to gift to people. I'm sorry, I don't want your sloppy seconds. I don't want your last it's like pouring in fine dining in my SpongeBob voice. Supposedly, because I only know a little bit, you're not supposed to pour the entire bottle of wine out of the bottle into the glass. You're supposed to leave a corner because that's like the bottom of the barrel, I think. It looks like you're running low or something like that. It could be a flavor thing, or I don't know. I haven't done that much digging. I just remember from some show or movie somebody did that, and it was like you're not supposed to pour the last bottle. You're supposed to go get a whole new bottle, or let people think that you have like an endless flow of liquor or wine or whatever, champagne. I don't want your bottom of the barrel. I don't want the sediment at the bottom. That's all the flavor and maybe the seasons or whatever the fuck at the bottom of the bottle. I want a fresh cup. Matter of fact, I want one of the first, second, or third cup. Maybe the first or second, honestly. You giving me the last little driblets, it shows that you really don't care. Because if you actually care to love somebody the way that you said that you would, matter of fact, fuck that. If you actually cared about yourself the way that you claim you care about somebody else, you would never give them your worst. There are some women right now who have the means to hire maid service, who has the means to do background checks and hire nannies, of course, putting up nanny cams and shit, or pay a trusted family member or something to watch their kids so that they can go and get a massage, and they won't do it because they don't feel like they deserve it. Because they're still poverty mindset. They still have a mentality of lack. So they don't really care about themselves as much. They don't love themselves truly. I refuse to believe they do. So if you operate like that, how much can you really say that you actually love and care about your children? Ooh, I'm triggering somebody. Somebody's calling me a bitch right now. Or just somebody need to hear that. How much can you truly say that you love and care for your children if you are not giving them the best that you possibly can? I did the best I could. Well, your best was shit. So let's try again. Your best wasn't that great. You could have did better. I was a good mother. You were a bare minimum basic bitch of a mother. Ooh, somebody called me a slore just now. Somebody damn me to hell just now. Your good wasn't good enough. So how can you be better? I tried and baby, people have been having kids for thousands of years. Do you know how many books? That was a conversation on TikTok. Do you know how many books there are on parenting? Do you know how many resources we have now more than ever on parenting? And you are still a basic ass mother. You still a half ass mother. And I'm only talking to the women because they're the only ones I really give a fuck about right now. Shoot, truth be told, that even goes for who you pick to have your kids. You can't really say you love your children or yourself if you picked a terrible ass father for your kids. But since you did, we can remedy that by you pouring into yourself as much as you possibly can, going to get a pedicure, going to get a massage, going to have a drink, or spending a few hours by yourself does not make you a bad mother. You know who told women that? Men. Pouring into yourself so that you can make sure that you can give your child your best does not make you a bad mother. I even told my mother that when I was a teenager because she wanted to spend time with me. And I'm like, Mom, when was the last time you did something for yourself? Go to the movies. Like, I don't have to come with you. Like, past the point of her, being concerned about my safety or whatever, that's understandable. But when I got to the point where I could absolutely be home by myself, and I never fully lived alone, we live with my aunt. Well, all of us live together. I'm like, Mom, you don't have to. I'm okay. I'm fine. I think her guilt from her youth was kind of eating her up a little bit. So she felt like no, I want to spend a lot of time with you. And I'm like, I'm grateful for that. Truly, I am. But if you want to go out and go somewhere and take yourself out, which she did often afterwards, do that. Because then she'll come back and tell me about something she got for free or a conversation she had with somebody that was so enjoyable, or it's usually something for free. And she got a lot of stuff for free when I was either not directly with her or when we were at a distance. Like she was on one part of the store, I was on another, that type of thing. So she started to see the benefit of her being in her own energy. You deserve that. I had to trigger somebody first because sometimes you don't be getting people's attention until you make them mad or offended. I've learned that you sometimes don't get people's attention until you offend them. Some people turn off and that's when some people listen. She hear me outside, so she's barking. She is cussing me out right now. I'm dog sitting this week, so she was out all day yesterday and went out and spent like an hour and a half out and about this morning. She is cussing me out. Like, I know you hear me. Damn it. Her breed is kind of a lap dog. They like to be up underneath of people. So me cleaning, she is not very happy with me right now. uh, well, she's fine. She's not in a cage. She's just in the basement where they live. She's like, I can hear you. I'm like, I know you can hear me. Now what? um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, you deserve it. You deserve to have that peace. You deserve to have that love. You deserve to take time for yourself and pour your sweet energy into yourself. Then when you go to your children, and when you spend time with your children, and when you take care of your children, your vibration, your energy, your love is up. It's the highest it possibly can be the more you give to yourself. There's a woman, I think she called herself Earth Mama, black woman. I think she has locks now. Light skin has locks if you want to look her up. I think she called herself Earth Mama. I could be wrong. I think she used to call herself Earth Mama. I think she goes by her real name now. I can't remember what it is, but she had like a herbal company, and she said the greatest g- thing she had to deal with was stop feeling guilty. And oh, I thought somebody was coming down our driveway. And to not feel guilty about taking time for herself, hiring a babysitter and a nanny for maybe one day a week. After she chose Fridays, to go out and do some shopping, go to a movie, maybe go to a restaurant and spend some time in her own energy, so that not even just so you could be a better mother, but because you deserve it. Period. That's the only reason you need. You deserve it. And even if you aren't kids, I see people who don't have kids running around for other people like they have a bunch of kids, and I'm like, these are other grown adults, baby, and you are running around for them like they're your children. Well, if I can't, able-bodied grown adults. They can go have fun by themselves. They can go clock in by themselves. Why are you running yourself ragged and picking up every single phone call and listening to them bitch and moan and complain and this, that, and the third like they are helpless? They are not. And even if they're not doing it maliciously, they know they like the fact that you think they're helpless because then they get to take more of your energy. Whether they realize it or not, you are giving them more of your energy, which means there's less energy for you. No, don't do that. There are certain things that have happened that I've watched happen. And old me would have been trying to run around, stress myself out, try to fix this and try to fix that, try to huddle everything together and try to fix everything for somebody. And I literally watched them like, that's not my problem. Nope. They ain't gonna like this when they see that. Shit, damn. Unless it was like a house on fire or some shit like that. Come on now. Or their children got out of so obviously. But if it was something like, mm, they gonna have to pay a lot to get that fixed. Well, they shouldn't have parked that there. Or they shouldn't have put that there. Or they shouldn't have let that sit like that. Well, not my problem. They'll see it when they get back. Or they'll see it, something like that. Something that has something to do with somebody not being on their P's and Q's because they probably ain't pouring into themselves the way that they're supposed to. So they were lax in other areas. They were their energy wasn't good enough in other areas. They were spread too thin. They were still in survival mode, so they took on more than what they could handle, bit off more than they could chew, so to speak. Sometimes you have to let people fall flat on their fucking face by themselves, even if you're standing next to them and, if they need a little support, help them up. And they just have to realize that, okay, I got to change something. Change something. I have to change something. Sometimes we have to let people fall flat on their fucking face or let certain things keep happening while we watch it. Now, like the nosy neighbor who keep watching it's like the nosy neighbor on Friday where everybody knew that the I'm gonna call it the whore on the street was cheating with the pastor and her husband came home. They could have told the husband, or they all sat across the street on their porch and watched all hell break loose and was like, damn, that's crazy. Sometimes you have to let people get their comeuppance because some people don't learn. They only learn the more shit goes wrong. They only learn through example. Some people don't have the thought in their head of, oh, this might go wrong. Some people don't think about that. Some people literally are like children where they only learn when shit blows up in their face and it has to keep blowing up in their face over and over and over and over before they get it. Some people have to have the same shit happen to them over and over and over and over and over and over. Literally, I've known people. I have people in my family like that. The same shit will happen to them 15 fucking times before they get it. I'm sorry, I'm calling that slow. Something is disconnected in your brain where you didn't get it the first 5 times. It took me 3. And I said, I don't like this. Those people I stay away from because they will talk shit about how other people aren't living their lives and how they aren't responsible for this, that, and the third, and they ain't got this together. And I'm looking at them like, your trash has piled up for months or weeks. Your house is filthy. And not because you were hurt, injured, you didn't have the time. When you had the time, you filled your time up with people with issues. You filled your time up with shit that didn't matter. You filled your time up with finding problems or trying to find solutions to problems that didn't need to be solved because you didn't want to deal. You didn't want to deal with what's going on with you. So you pick and chose distractions. Did it when I was younger. You pick and chose distractions so you wouldn't have to deal. So you wouldn't have to come face to face with what the fuck was going on with you, with what the fuck you needed to do. Right. I don't know if you heard that. It might pick up that bird. I don't even know what kind of bird that is. I don't think that's a crow. Too small to be a crow. But you kept picking distractions and shit and shit that didn't matter, or like somebody I knew kept taking on extra shifts. They didn't need the money. They might have liked money, but they didn't need the money. They didn't want to be home. And I'll tell you why they didn't need the money. There's certain things they invested in, but they pretty much blew through their money. They was asking me for money. When I was at my lowest, they was asking me for money. I'm like, you make $50,000 a year and you don't pay rent. You don't have to pay rent. You just pay the bills at the house that your family owns. You blew through all that shit. And now you want me to feel bad because you have a child. Oh, do you have a child that has two godmothers, a grandmother, a father that left them money, your father that left them money, a father, you got aunts and stuff that sends you shit, but you need money. Okay. But you working two jobs. Well, no, you don't need money. You need more distractions because you don't want to be at home. You need more distractions. That's what you need. And I see that. So that's not my problem. And I've also noticed in the cycle that I've been through, when it came to certain people that I had in my life, when they were more active in my life in terms of like we hung together or there were conversations, we were talking more or seeing each other more, that's when I made the lowest amount of money that I ever made. And I'm like, I know how to make money. I attract money like it's nothing. All the jobs that I've had, people literally gave me. They literally gave me. Two I applied for, but two I literally like talking to people. They was like, oh, we're hiring or da da da. Connections. I build connections. That's how my relationships. It's in my chart, but that's how my relationships have always worked. I build beneficial relationships for myself and a lot of times for other people. Naturally, I do it like it's nothing. So I'm like, why the fuck am I having issues making money? I'm not lazy. I've sorted through my issues, childhood traumas and stuff. Why is this still so hard? Oh, that's why. You still got people in your life that don't need to be there. Wanting to do certain things for the people that I love and care about. Guess what? I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to make me a priority. I wasn't supposed to. So when I noticed the trend in the cycle. When I started to make me a priority, that's also when they started calling more and texting more. When they realized that I was keeping my energy to myself, that's also when I noticed that. That's when they would pop up and start blowing up my phone, and not in like a needy way. Literally like, oh hey, what you doing? And you want to hang out? And da, da, da. When I started to pull my energy and keep my energy to myself, connection, connection. When I started to keep my energy to myself and only give it where I was willing, because I realized I don't have an unlimited supply of energy. I sometimes have high energy bursts where I'll have a lot of energy. Like that's why I said I'm at 8 today, and then I'm getting ready to clean once my body, the food settles a little bit. I'm gonna use that energy to do something that I've been trying to do the last few days, which is vacuum my steps and sweep and like do the dishes. I was like, I have enough energy for those things. So I'm used to. I now respect my energy. I've been paying attention long enough to know what I have energy for and what I don't. But when I would keep my energy to myself and only give what I could, that's when they would come around. That's when they would call. I thought I heard somebody. That's when they would, whatever. And I had to notice that pattern. You could tell when I was keeping my energy to myself. When you were losing your energy supply from me, yeah, that's when you started to take notice. Part of it was caring, and it was other part when I could absolutely tell you are only concerned about your energy supply and you don't even realize that. So when it came time for people to start asking me if I had money or ask me this, that, and a third, that was when I didn't. And I used to feel so bad because I'm like, my friends are making money. Trying to find out they were blowing through their money and didn't have nothing left, but was looking at me to loan them 20, 25, $40 or something. And I'm like, you make more than I do. I am an online whore. First of all, not just an online whore, but I make money online. Now my resources are a lot more fluid because I now know how to have more plates in the air to keep them going and multiple streams of income. But before, when I only had that one source, I'm like, my money is up and down. Sometimes I'll make a few hundred, sometimes I'll make a few thousand. So I'm planning for me. And as soon as they needed money or will come back around and ask for money, I ain't got none. Meanwhile, they got other friends that they would never ask. They got people that they would see more than they saw me. Cause one thing about it, I respect myself now too much. I used to go out all the time. Anytime somebody wanted to see me, or anytime I wanted to run away from home life, I would be out constantly. So what people are doing now, getting into reckless situations and stuff like they're teenagers, but they're in their 20s and 30s and 40s and shit. I did that all between the ages of 14 and 19. And I only say 19 because that's when shit came to a halt. And then I got into a trash ass relationship. So we did reckless things together. Her neighbor's dog is barking. We did not reckless, but we had a lot of fun together in that relationship for a good 2 years. So but after that I was just like, I'm good. I got that out of my system very early and I'm so grateful for it. So there's still people who either they were repressed. Oh, my headset about to die. Either they were repressed because of their parents, like overly protected, and their parents didn't really like they protected them, but they didn't really like tell them about life. They didn't really prepare them for how people act. They just told them, oh, they ain't no good. Or they didn't actually give them advice on what to do if they were in certain situations, or, well, this sounds like this, or if they say something like this, they may be trying to manipulate you. And not always, but just trust yourself. They didn't give that. They're just like, oh, you can't go here because I said so. You know, or they never explained anything. And sometimes you do have to explain stuff to your kids, not for them when they're younger, but for them when they're older, so that they don't find out the hard way. And some parents, I ain't got to explain shit to my children. Yes, you do. You are not you thinking about you. You're not thinking about your child. Sometimes you need to explain why for certain things when your children are young so that they can know as they get older. Because just because they don't get into certain situations when they're around you and when they're under your care does not mean those certain situations won't come back around when they're teenagers or young adults. You're not preparing your children correctly. You just don't want to answer their question. Or sometimes you don't know. Some parents don't know. They just don't want to admit it. But whenever whenever they needed money, and like I said, had friends that they would see more than they would see me, but would never ask them for money. And it wasn't until the last little leg of two of my relationships that I literally said that. I was like, you see them every week. Did you ask them for money? See if they got it. These are people that work pretty good jobs. See if they got it. You asking me for. There's a problem if you can't ask somebody for money. If you can't ask your friends to help you out, friends. If you can't ask somebody that claim they care about you, or you see often for help. It's like the second movie for the best man. Do you need some money? Like, well, y'all calling each other best friends, even if you haven't seen each other in a while. You can't ask your friend for help. That's another shame thing. That's black folks know about that. That's another shame thing. I gotta have it all together. I gotta do it all by myself. What's the point of having friends? To boost your ego? And not to say that you leaning on them constantly, but every once in a while when you actually need help, that's ridiculous to me. But you'll go and ask somebody that, yes, you may have known them for a long time, but you don't see as often. And you know they've been in a situation that's different from you and your friends. Mm, I had to sit back and be like, that don't sit right. They kind of actually got me fucked up. They actually got me fucked up. Because why can't you ask these people? And you see them all the time. Story time, real quick. I had a friend, very needy, very fucking needy. She Leo, but come to find out, I think she had a Pisces moon. I got the only astrology book that you'll ever need, and it showed like the charts of the moon placements, sun placements, and Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And so I think she had a Pisces moon, if I'm not mistaken. I said that explains so fucking much. So not only was she a Cancer in sidereal astrology, but I think she had a Pisces moon in sidereal astrology as well. That explains so fucking much. Delusional and needy as fuck. Want to be everybody's mama, but can't even be your own mama. Yeah, I said it. But not even delusional in the best way. Because I love me some delusion. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, just like I am. But do something with that energy. Don't just daydream and then don't do nothing with it. Like daydream and then go create. Daydream and then go on an adventure. Like I mean, they would go on an adventure, but they would make dumbass decisions. Anyway, not my point. They were around these friends that they knew since college, and they would see them. They were acting very high schoolish, very college level energy, which is fine, but they were still making moves like they were like 19 years old or 21 and shit. And I'm just like, you are 30. That's not that far away, but I'm like, you should be growing and not just I'm not just talking about paying bills. I'm also talking about how your relationships are. Your relationships mirror those that mirror the relationships I had when I was 19 and 21. First sign that something needed to end. But she was around and she would see them every Friday. They would get together, smoke weed, and watch anime. I'm like, y'all sound like college students. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody need a break. Everybody need a break. But there were more traits to those relationships that mirrored college students' behavior. And so that kind of hold on my head. One of my headsets went out. Let me check and see if it's still recording. Okay, it's still recording. Uh yeah, it would be their behavior and the things that they would do and talk about and stuff still mirrored college students. Like we just graduated from high school as students, and so I was like, I don't relate to this. So they would see each other every week, and yet she was calling me even while she was working. Even when she wasn't working, for to borrow money. And I'm like, you see these people every fucking week. Did you ever ask them? It's like five people. Like, why you ain't ask them? And part of it you could say, oh, it's because she was worried about them judging her and this, that, and the third. Then why are you around them? That type of judgment, it makes me go, huh? Er. It makes me really judge you because I'm like, yes, we've known each other for a while, so yes, you should feel safe. 20 years, you should feel safe to ask me for money. But you see these people every single week for years, every single week for a short period of time. But they pretty much hung together on a monthly basis, constantly spending the night over each other's house and waking up and going to brunch and stuff together. You can't ask them for money. Spending all of her money, and then asking after leaving those friends, asking me and our other friend for $5 because she don't have no money for gas, but she done drove halfway home. You see you see my point now. You see my point. High school as energy, teenager as behavior. So a lot of people are in relationships, still trying to have relationships like they are 16 years old because that's where they are stuck. I'll even say as low as 13 because that's where they got stuck at. That's where their relationships and their mind is stuck at. They may be paying bills. Paying bills don't mean shit. You can go to work, clock and do your job. That's not hard. I choose not to do it, but that's not hard. Logging online to pay a bill, that is not fucking difficult. It's not. Unless you're going through something, it's not hard. Having adult relationships, working through your shit, that's hard. And a lot of people opt out of doing that because it's hard. Those are also the same people that will shame folks who either aren't paying bills, who don't have a 9 to 5, or this, that, and the third. Well, you need to grow up, baby. My your life mirrors my life when I was 14. Your relationships, your romantic relationships, your business partnerships mirror my life when I was 19, and you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s. Hmm. So who am I going to take advice from? Myself. So a lot of times people will try to escape, and they claim that they need support, but really what they need is a crutch. They claim that they need support, but really what they need is somebody to take the blame and shift the blame from their decisions and their behaviors and their patterns and shift it onto somebody else, or a distraction or something else. I'm here to tell you that you can't do that shit anymore. Quite literally. You literally cannot afford to do that shit anymore, because if you continue to do it, you will end up assed out. Gone are the days of guaranteed security. If you don't get up and say, look, I'm tired of these repeating these patterns, I'm tired of having these piss poor half-ass relationships, I'm done with not giving myself all of myself, I'm done with not attracting the best for me, because we're not supposed to work that hard. We're not supposed to work. The only way we're supposed to work that hard now is on ourselves. And of course, if you're building a house from scratch or some shit like that, or you got a homestead, yeah, that's gonna be hard work. But I mean, like, regular jobs and stuff, we're not supposed to work that hard. We're supposed to attract the beautiful relationships that we deserve. You deserve beautiful relationships. You do. You deserve healthy relationships. You deserve beautiful love. You deserve, and not like heartbreaking, that painstaking love, that bullshit from Sex and the City. No, you deserve well-rounded, appetite filling, taste bud satisfying, and that could be friendship too. You deserve that type of love. You deserve that wholeness. But you can't go on to the days of looking for that in other people, because people are getting worse. In the occult, and actually literally, I think science, there's something with science that acknowledges this too. The poles have shifted. Up is down now. As above, so below. Things have flipped on its head, which is how it's supposed to be. What we've known things to be will not be anymore. The systems, the way we do our relationships, the balance that we quote unquote balance. It was not normal. We got used to it. We were forced to grow up with it, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. So now those things are flipped on its head, because we are getting back to a time where everything flowed. It may be hard, because it's going to have to it's going to have to happen hard, because some people still don't get it. Some people still don't get it. And how people say we gotta take care of Mother Nature, baby. Mother Nature is taking care of herself, and she's taking care of us too. We just have to pay the fuck attention. Like how I said I was craving spicy foods and salty foods. I don't know if I said that. I have been taking Saraswati churna, and it has ginger in it. And you're not really supposed to mix turmeric with ginger, because they help lower your blood pressure. Like they can cause issues with clotting, like how your body. Oh, I just heard a woodpecker. I ain't heard a woodpecker in a minute. They can cause issues with the ability to clot. I think because your blood pressure might drop too low. And I had already put turmeric in my food, and as soon as I did that and ate it, I was like, oh shoot, there's ginger in my Saraswati churna. I knew it was ginger in something. I just couldn't. I was avoiding my ginger tea this week because I was taking turmeric. It's good for anti-inflammatory things, but you have to be careful with mixing it with certain medications and herbs because it can have a lowering blood pressure effect, and amongst other things. So you gotta just check with your doctor before taking any herbs or supplements. But I was like, it's something. It's something. I feel like it's something that I already had ginger in, and I just can't put my finger on it. And it literally just the light bulb went off as I was eating. I was like, oh, yeah, that's what it is. I said, no wonder I put extra salt and seasonings in my food for the last 3 days. I never, because I'm very conscious about I've never had issues with high blood pressure. I did, child, I was going through a lot. I was going through a whole lot. So it was understandable why I had high blood pressure. Even the doctor was like, yeah, you told me what you have been through, and it makes sense. Like you told me about your diet. You don't eat a lot of salty foods. I stopped eating salty food, really salty foods when I was younger because I started to recognize how dehydrated it was making me. I didn't like that feeling. So I cut that out. And then I had to learn how to cut out sweets because, ooh, the sweet tooth, y'all. So now I switched it off with fruits, and other things. When I get the baking, I'm going to be using like dates. Not everybody can eat dates, but dates and honey, maybe agave, and there's another sweetener that you could use. But the more now that my gut health is healed, and the more I switch back over to the diet I'm supposed to have, plant based. Actually, no, I'm not gonna say vegan because I'm still use honey. And I might eat fish every now and again if I have a taste for it or if I feel I need some omega 3s. I'm gonna eat me some salmon. Period. I don't care how much I gotta pay for it. I'm gonna eat me some salmon. Um, but I was like, why am I putting so much? I put cayenne pepper, I see Lowry's. You know about the Lowry seasoning salt. I even put this chicken rub because I use it as seasoning too because it doesn't have anything specific in it for like some people will only use a rub for a rub to marinate. I use it as seasoning because I was like, there's nothing in here that specifies that it's only for a rub. It literally had everything that was in my other seasoning, just all in one container. And I was like, why am I don't crave salt. But also I have been having a low sodium diet for a while. So my body is like, you need salt to balance yourself out. So it all worked out. Listen to my body. But we are at a point where you cannot not listen to yourself and listen to your body. Doing things the old way is going to end up in a way worse situation than in the past. The cycles that you keep repeating, it's like I know how this is going to turn out. Yeah, I fuck up, but I'm gonna get up again. No, some people might not get up. Some people might not get up again. Literally, it's down to the wire now. Some people may not get up anymore because people are acting worse. There's a lot more mental illness, and it doesn't have to be, but people are fighting against themselves. People are also fighting against the system, but they're not doing it in a way that's going to be good for them. They're going to do it in a way that may be good for them in the long run. It will be. It will. Some people are supposed to fight. Some people are supposed to quote unquote go to war. That's their role. But for those of us who aren't, for those of us who are supposed to nurture ourselves so that we can nurture and quote unquote heal or help nurture other people, we have to listen to nature, to ourselves, let go of those relationships, and it's going to be painful for some. I'm almost begging you. Not really, because you're going to do what you want to do anyway. But things are going to be way worse than what they were before if people do not learn. The situations like staying in a toxic friendship or toxic relationship, it might go from this person would never put their hands on me. We've never gotten to a fist fight. We just argue and walk away. People's minds are so different now because they're a lot more frustrated and emotional. People who have never raised a hand at anybody might end up killing people. That's where we are now. So if you get off, I'm gonna say get off on arguing with people, if you're used to dysfunction, if you're used to not having peace because that's what you grew up with, it's time to get used to having peace. It's time to snatch your peace, literally. It's time to hang up that trauma because God forbid, God is forbid that one person decides to hang up that drama for you. And that might be like taking somebody out of here. The people that was like, oh, they were always crazy. They always put their hands. Is that a branch? That was loud. That's where nature be. Sometimes you'll hear something, it sounds like a body fell out the tree. But really, it'll be a crow or something, a big ass crow or a vulture bouncing on a branch and it broke. Um, that means it's time for me to go in the house and finish my work. I think my food is digested enough. But gone are the days of, well, yeah, we knew he was going to be this way, or because he was very violent or she was very violent, so I'm not really all that shocked. It's literally going to be the way people used to lie and say he was such a good boy. Now those people are lying. No, it's going to be people who are just like, this person was so peaceful, so quiet, never raised his voice, never raised her voice. People are going to be snapping in ways that they have never snapped before. So you really have to think as though people can go off out of nowhere. Even if you don't think it was justified call for, people are going to be, quote unquote, losing their mind and not give a fuck who they lose it on. Not give a fuck what happened. It's going to still be people living reckless, like, oh, and they just got an attitude. Okay. Gamble if you want to. Gamble if you want to. I don't know what happened. You have, as soon as I saw that you had black kids causing harm to their parents, and that was a few years ago, causing harm to their parents in a way that black kids never did, and I mean like unprovoked, unless the child was being abused and so they retaliated through fighting or something. I think in Maryland a few years ago there was a kid who killed his parents. My battery about to die. There was a kid who killed his parents. Black. Had never happened in a black household in this area ever. I think it was a murder suicide. I think in PG County, I think in a big, nice, fancy house. And I said, and people's like, oh, that child was spoiled, or that baby was being abused in ways that you couldn't imagine and got tired of it. You don't know what's going on behind them closed doors. Children people do not attack for no reason. However, it's getting to the point where no matter how small the reason, people are going to be attacking a lot more. That was just a taste, a preview. Because we used to always joke, black kids don't shoot up the school. Hell, even I went to school in DC. And even when I went to school away from the hood, there was still hoods like two blocks over, like a block and a half over. Kids would come up to the school, but they would never just start shooting. They had enough sense for that. They would go directly after the target that they were looking for. When a child opened fire, and I think that was in DC too, or in Maryland, a child came up to the school. They didn't shoot anybody but the kid that was bullying them, black child. So we used to joke about how white people will come up and just white boys would come up and just start shooting any and every fucking body, even people that never even had nothing to do with nothing. But black kids, no, if they came up to a school, they going after their target, and then they gonna either go home and eat some Fruity Loops, or let the police take them, or try to hide or something. But now you got kids who are doing things and people who are doing things that they've never done before. They weren't quote unquote culturally known to do. That's how real it is. The poles have been flipped upside their head. The magnetic north is now south. Study quantum physics and all of that stuff. And I'll go more into that on my occult podcast. But game anymore. And I'm actively seeing people in my life try to hold on to like the last little threads of relationships, and they're being dragged down the block and they're bloody, and I'm just like, let it go. You do not know how beautiful your life is going to get when you let it go. Coming from somebody who literally let it go. I am now in better mental and physical health than I have ever been in my entire life, and I'm 33. So that's why I'm talking and filming myself more so people can literally see how far I've come. The worst health that I was in was when I was trying to people please and be there for any, not any and everybody, but be there for the people in my circle. They were taking more of my energy than what I could give. And I had to stop letting them. So repeat after me. Something good is going to happen to me today. Please think about this. I don't know when the Wi-Fi is going to be on, so I will upload this as soon as I get the chance, like literally as soon as I get